One evening, by chance, I realized the new WhatsApp avatar of my younger daughter. MURI SONO NELLA MENTE. The barrier is in our head. That's a very old Italian saying with a deep, deep mind inside. And this, of course, reflected my very special interest. My younger daughter is 15 years old. A difficult age indeed. But, of course, I had to talk to her. In the evening then, when sitting together, I asked her about the thoughts when placing this specific old Italian saying as her avatar. She said, "Daddy, I do not understand the following. When I discuss a problem with people, then they look at the problem with their own eyes and their very personal perception only. But I'm different. I would like to look at the world, at the life, and especially my private life with my own eyes. I'm different. I do not understand the people, why they are limited in their thinking. It is like a one way, or just as would they think from one garden fence to the opposite one. That's all. But again, I'm different. People are born free, but are everywhere limited by their mental barriers. I, Daddy, do not want to stuck in this old-fashioned style way of thinking, in these limits. I do not want to be limited by barriers." Wow. Again, the young lady is 15 years old and just taught me a lesson in cognitive science. By the way, did someone else here face a similar situation? So means great, I'm not alone with that. Of course, it took me a while to digest the words of my daughter, but it turned out to be a reflection of what I have been facing when working with companies. I'm a risk management trainer and a business strategy consulting, helping companies to build up their business processes and passing the transformation. My job is to provide credentials and input to build up an open-minded risk assessment and risk management culture in the companies. An essential part of my job is to train people to accurately identify risk, assess them, analyze them, and to be able to avoid them or at least mitigate them in the future. My job is to, together with them, identify mental barriers affecting the way of decision making, leading, if they rule our mind, to wrong decisions. Sometimes it is quite hard to break down these walls and to widen the focus of these people. But where are these mental barriers coming from? In 1983, the neuroscientist Benjamin Libet made a study which turned the idea of whether it is possible to program the human mind. In 2011, another group of scientists tested the freedom of human decision using a magnetic resonance imaging. What was the result of all these studies? The outcome. Before we becoming aware about a decision we just made, our brain has known about this for almost 8 seconds. 8 seconds is a fortune of time. It is our brain, not we, who rules the theater, who defines what we do, what we believe, and what we trust. It is the brain, our brain, who makes the decision. It is like a spy sitting in a dark corner in the street, monitoring what we are doing in the between of the 8 seconds. Do you like this idea? I would say the majority would vote for a no. But we can at least become a managing partner of our brain. Mental barriers. What are these mental barriers? We all are affected by them. They are all inside, somewhere here between the left and the right side of our head. Just some examples. Overconfidence bias is something we all here, me too, have in our mind. That is, when we are too much confident in our decision making, even the most hardcore pessimist cannot fully assess uncertainty and is probably too much optimistic. Again, that's our brain. It's not our fault. But we can manage this. Confirmation bias or wishful thinking, a very popular one as well. We tend to seek and interpret information to confirm existing risk while rejecting or ignoring any conflicting data. People believe that it's much more dangerous to fly in an aircraft than driving a car by themselves. In fact, there are much more car accidents than aircraft accidents. Pseudo-certainty bias is where the certainty is only belief. This works because of our preference for the absolute and our inability to fully assess the difference between different probabilities. Just an example. Very nice village. We have 600 people COVID infected. We are offered 200 appropriated vaccines. Alternatively, we are offered 600 non-appropriated vaccines with a 1/3 chance to save all 600 people and a 2/3 risk to save no one. Most of the respondents voted for option 1, for the ultimate outcome of saving 200 people, over the conditional but much larger positive outcome of saving 600 people. Illusion of control is what most risk takers have in common when they believe that they can manage, rule, and control random or unforeseen risk events in their business. Congruence bias, hindsight bias, omission bias, answering effects. There are more than 100 different mental barriers existing. Can you imagine how affected we are if we let them rule our mind, our decision-making process? What will we get? In the best case, a so-called Semmelweis reflex or Semmelweis effect. That's a reflect-like tendency to ignore any new information, any new knowledge, if it contradicts our traditional norms of thinking, our frames, our paradigms. Remember the words of my daughter, old-fashioned style decision-making. The truth speaks through the mouth of a child, or in my case, a teenager. If we would like to be successful in business, then we have to overcome the mental barriers, and in our private life as well, of course. Some time ago, I had a very interesting discussion with an owner of a very successful business, this typical self-made millionaire, strong, tough decision maker, an Ironman. We were talking about their plans to enter a new market, and I asked him whether they did some pre-assessment of risk and potential problems. He said, I was talking to the general director of the neighboring factory, just over there. They delivered some goods a couple of years ago to a customer in that country. Everything was fine and perfect. Also, we have a lawyer engaged, a local one, who takes care about all the regulations and legal tasks. In fact, he said legal trash. Said, okay, it seems like someone is just looking for the low-hanging fruits to be picked up. I asked, okay, but why not to arrange for a risk session with your team, the stakeholders, the business process owners who are normally also the risk owners? They should probably know about potential risk and give some good ideas. No, there's no need to do so. No? This is senseless. It is nothing worth the time to be spent on this kind of discussions. People will always find a million of reasons contra a decision. Oh, I tried a second time. But they are in the business. They face problem, risk every day. They have to fight them, to overcome them. And they have the experience. Maybe they really have some good ideas to be taken into account. Now, we investigated everything. We have it under control. We are able to manage this project and to lead it to a success. Said, good luck, great. This was a typical example of overconfidence, framing and illusion of control. It shouldn't be said that the company faced huge problems when entering the market, of course. And when we met again a year later or so, he said, Lars, you know, you were right. We didn't assess all the nuances and risk properly. But next time, we will do it better. Lessons learned. Very often I hear from managers that they say, we very well understand the need for an integrated decision-making process in the company and an integrated risk management system. But it is so difficult, it is so hard to break the walls, to make the teams changing their mind, to look different at problems and risk. It is so difficult to force them even to move a little bit away from their frames of thinking. In fact, it is difficult, but at the same time, it isn't. What I recommend, if you really want to push the business, is the following. Talk to each other. Talk means physically, face-to-face, sit together. Today, we all use our devices, mobile phones, gadgets, to text, to send messages around. We circulate 500,000 of corporate emails per day. We are online. Online is great. But is online what we really need? If we sit together, we have the chance not only to listen to our counterparty, but also to feel the atmosphere, the waves, and we will be able to identify mental barriers affecting the decision-making of our counterpart. When you assess a risk, take a sheet of paper. Write down all your thoughts, all your ideas, everything coming to your mind when doing so, and leading you to your conclusion. Then, after a while, do a second assessment. But remember first what potential mental barriers could have been affecting you at the beginning. And then do a counter check. Go through all the thoughts, ideas. Counter check. And you will see the outcome will be already a different one. Challenge your partners and peers while asking sometimes very simple questions like, what happens if? What if? Do it in a very polite way, of course. You will see if you challenge them, then they start rethinking, reassessing. And there might be a fully different outcome already. Listen to your partners and peers. Try to extract the waves and what they try to tell you. This gives you a better understanding, and you are then in a position really to understand, is there something affecting, or is it really a clear message I now received? Respect and value other people's views. Don't try to push or press them into your frames. They might be right, you might be wrong. And remember, the more critically you request someone's position, the more dramatic changing might be the outcome. The real picture we see allowing us really to make a correct decision. We all have mental barriers in our head. Our mind is like a battlefield, where the enemy is the mental barrier, keeping a surrounding defense position, building up walls and fences, not allowing us making the right decision. We must manage our mind to overcome them. In business, this of course requires a very specific culture, a culture allowing people changing their mindset, critically requesting, challenging someone's position. This of course has to be part of the corporate philosophy, of the corporate governance. But in many firms, this became already even part of the corporate ESG policy. Manage your mind. And if we set up this kind of culture, if we motivate and empower our people to do so, then they will be able to identify and eliminate mental barriers much, much faster. And they will be able to bring the entire decision-making process and the risk management process up to a much, much higher level of quality. If we reach this, then we are on the right way to success and sustainable business. Open your mind. Awareness is the start. An open-minded risk management culture is where we are on the way to the win in our business. With my daughter, today I have a fully different communication. When we talk about problems, then we even enjoy hunting for mental barriers. And I do not try to press her into my own frames. Thank you very much and take care.